Liverpool just spent a record £125 million on Alexander Isak. But is he really worth it? Or is this the most dangerous gamble in Premier League history?
Well, Alex, it's done. You're a Liverpool player. Can you describe how you're feeling right now?
I feel amazing. It's been a long journey, to get here. But I'm super happy to be a part of this team, this club, and everything it stands for. It's something I'm proud of, and I'm really looking forward to.
The truth might surprise you, because hidden beneath the goals and headlines is a pattern in his game that mirrors one of football's greatest legends, Thierry Henry. And if you think that comparison is lazy hype, the side-by-side data and movement patterns tell a very different story. So, before you call this deal madness, let's reveal why Liverpool might have just secured their very own Henry. Why would Liverpool risk the biggest transfer fee in British football history on a striker still refining his game? That's the question that has dominated headlines ever since Alexander Isak forced his way out of Newcastle and made himself the centerpiece of Liverpool's rebuild. This wasn't a quiet move done in the shadows. Isak refusing to join Newcastle's pre-season tour set the tone for a saga.
That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is, says Isak, that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue.
That became one of the most dramatic transfer stories the league has seen in recent years. Newcastle were determined to hold on to their star forward, but Liverpool kept pressing, pushing the fee higher and higher, until it finally smashed through the £125 million mark. The reaction was immediate. Pundits labelled it reckless spending, a desperate sign of Liverpool losing their transfer discipline of old. Fans were divided. Some saw it as an exciting statement of intent. Others questioned if Isak, a player who still shows flashes of rawness in his game, could ever justify that huge outlay. And yet, there was another side to the story. The inflation of the Premier League market meant elite attackers were no longer available at what used to be considered reasonable prices.
I really would like more. I think for what he's worth, we could have got more.
At the same time, Arne's slot needed a forward built to be the focal point of his system. To him, Isak wasn't a luxury piece, he was essential. Football history is filled with deals like this. Sometimes massive gambles explode into success, like Cristiano Ronaldo's move to Manchester United in 2003.
It's interesting, that first couple of years of Cristiano when he was frustrating, did you always think that he would get to the level that he did?
Oh, absolutely. Well, his game, he was amazing, the kid.
Reminding fans that era-defining players can shift a club's future overnight. Other times, they collapse under their own weight, becoming expensive reminders of ambition gone wrong. Liverpool's board had to decide which category Isak would fall into, knowing the risk was higher than ever before. For evidence, the club didn't have to look far. Isak had scored 27 times in 42 appearances for Newcastle, showing efficiency few strikers in the league could match. His goals weren't padded by penalties or inflated by easy finishes. He built his record on one of the toughest attacking roles in England, often carrying the responsibility of leading the line alone against defences prepared to shut him down. Numbers like that don't just suggest potential, they suggest a player already producing at the highest level.
What do you see yourself as?
I would say centre forward, yeah, centre forward. That's my position.
Liverpool have been here before. When they committed £75 million to Virgil van Dijk, many called it excessive. That signing changed the course of the club entirely, turning a fragile defence into the foundation of a Champions League and Premier League winning side. By breaking their own financial ceiling twice in the last decade, Liverpool showed they will pay record-shattering fees if they believe the player isn't just good, but transformational. So, the question becomes clear. What did they see in Isak that justified such faith? The answer isn't only about goals. What Liverpool bought was a forward whose overall presence could reshape the way the team attacks, pressing, linking, and dictating space in ways that go beyond the stat sheet. And that vision isn't coincidental, because the qualities they're banking on mirror a legend whose shadow still lingers over the Premier League, Thierry Henry. Fans hear the Thierry Henry comparison all the time, but is it just lazy repetition, or is there something more revealing hiding in the numbers and the footage? When we strip away the headlines and focus on the patterns of play, the similarities between Alexander Isak and the Arsenal legend go far deeper than most realize. Isak stands out because he doesn't fit the mold we normally expect. At 6'3", he has the height and frame of a traditional centre forward. Yet, he moves with the balance and fluidity of someone half his size. He carries the ball with strides that eat up ground, but the touch is soft, controlled and adaptable.
I feel comfortable receiving the ball at the left side. I haven't really been as good when the games I've started as a left winger.
It's an unusual mix, and for some analysts a puzzling one, because tall strikers often struggle to maintain close technical control. In modern football, it is rare to find a player combining long limbs and elegant dribbling in one package. Think about what defined Henry in his prime. His most famous moments at Arsenal weren't goals bundled in from crowded penalty areas, but runs that began in wide positions. He would drift away from crowded zones, then cut inside with pace and confidence, creating openings almost out of nothing. His ghost runs off the shoulder of a defender, his habit of starting near the touchline before gliding diagonally across the pitch. These became trademarks that made him unstoppable. Now, compare that with Isak's maps of movement at Newcastle. Instead of staying centrally positioned between the two centre-backs, he often drifted into channels, especially on the left side. Heat maps show him appearing exactly where Henry used to cause havoc, receiving the ball in wider zones before driving at goal.
And that goal means that they've only kept one clean sheet in their last 12 Premier League matches now. Only Leicester have kept fewer since the start of February.
It's not about raw sprint speed or beating an opponent in a straight foot race. Isak leans on deception, slowing down to lure a defender forward, then sprinting past with sudden acceleration. A clear example came in Newcastle's 4-0 win over Spurs in 2024.
With a clinical finish again, everything he touches turns to gold for Newcastle. He can't miss at the moment.
When Isak dropped toward midfield, dragged a centre-back out of shape, then spun in behind to finish calmly. The run wasn't about direct pace, it was the timing and positioning, an echo of Henry, who so often punished defenders not because he was running fastest, but because he was running smartest. Eddie Howe allowed Isak freedom to roam across the front line rather than chaining him to the traditional number 9 role. That approach mirrored the way Wenger gave Henry license to drift and attack space on his own terms. The results were similar too, moments of individuality that could break matches wide open. So, here's the question: have Liverpool just secured the closest Henry-like forward since Arsenal's French icon left English football? The resemblance isn't cosmetic. The runs, the zones he attacks, the freedom to drift, it all points to tactical choices rather than coincidence. And with those traits in hand, the next step is considering how Isak now fits under Arne's slot, in a system demanding both structure and individual brilliance.
I think it's a mixture of what the club is building, but what they're building on top of what the club already is.
If Isak is Liverpool's Henry, how exactly does he fit into Arne Slot's blueprint for a new dynasty? That's the key question hanging over this massive signing. Slot has already shown a preference for a more disciplined 4-2-3-1 system, one that doesn't rely on chaos and constant transitions the way Klopp's sides often did. To make it work, Slot needs a striker who can do 3 things at once: press with intensity when possession is lost, link the midfield to the attack, and stretch defenses by making clever runs off the ball. Liverpool aren't simply buying goals in this case, they're betting on a player who can be the glue and the spearhead of the entire structure. That leads to the real doubt: Can a striker costing £125 million press with the same relentlessness expected of Liverpool forwards, while also retaining his sharpness in the final third? We've seen expensive centre forwards at other clubs fail when asked to balance relentless off-ball duties with the mental focus needed to convert chances.
Jackson. For Liverpool. He's in the post. Gravenberch.
In Isak's case, the challenge is blending his natural instinct to drift into wide spaces with the responsibility of leading a system designed to control matches rather than blow them open with end-to-end chaos. And yet, some of his most effective moments suggest he might be the missing piece. His ghost runs at Newcastle consistently pulled centre-backs out of position, which created space for teammates to fill. Imagine how that translates at Anfield. When Isak vacates central areas, defenders follow him, and that leaves Mohamed Salah or Ugo Ekitike with acres of room to exploit.
Put them further clear. Ekitike's there and does! What a start to the second period for Liverpool!
The comparison to Henry opening spaces for Pires and Lundberg feels less like a stretch and more like a natural continuation of the same principle. Isak's intelligence without the ball is already at a level that could reshape how Liverpool attack. What makes him even more valuable is his ability to drop off, receive, and carry the ball forward under pressure. Instead of just waiting for service, he acts as a transition point, linking progressive midfielders to the final third. That's not glamorous work, but in a controlled system, it is critical. It allows Liverpool to keep possession, roll attacks forward in stages, and attack with structure instead of chaos. The finishing record also backs him. 54 Premier League goals in just 86 appearances shows not only consistency, but efficiency. His conversion rate inside the box ranks among the strongest in the division, proving he doesn't need high volumes of shots to deliver. But there is still a gap in his game, one that could decide how high his ceiling truly is. Isak leans heavily on his right foot, with most of his goals and dribbles favouring that side. If he sharpens his left, even marginally, the variety he could bring in one-on-one moments would make him far harder to defend. So, is this the new system-defining forward? Or is it reckless overspending, dressed up as ambition? Liverpool are gambling that it's the former. Slot doesn't just gain a reliable goalscorer, he gains a striker who can adjust the rhythm, create space for teammates, and elevate Salah as he enters the later years of his career. Which means this deal isn't about the present month or even this season, it's about whether Liverpool have signed the forward capable of carrying them into their next era of dominance.
You know, the biggest motivation for me, and I feel like this is a perfect place for me to grow even further and to take my game and to next level and help the team as well.
Finally, they have been waiting for this moment.
The terrifying truth, it isn't the price tag, it's that Liverpool may have secured a forward who carries shades of Thierry Henry into the modern Premier League. If Isak's movement and intelligence blend with Slot's system, the fee becomes irrelevant. Liverpool wouldn't just be buying goals, they'd be building around a striker whose presence reshapes how the whole attack functions. That's why this deal feels bigger than one season or one rebuild. So, what do you think? Has Liverpool landed their own Henry? Or is this still the riskiest gamble English football has seen in years?